Hi folks! If you've been following our YouTube channel, you'll know that we wanted to build a shed that could stand up to the wild weather here on the Isle of Skye. So we decided to build it from scratch.
We've shown snippets of the build in different episodes that we've done so far. However, lots of people have asked us to do a standalone video of the whole process start to finish.
So here it is, the whole build start to end. And we haven't shown that on the channel yet. We hope you enjoy. We're expecting the materials to be delivered for the shed today, and we've just woken up to this, which is completely contrary to what the weather report says. Look at it. I hope they can get their truck over the hill. Oh well, we'll find out. It's very bright today, probably because of all this snow. And what's this behind me, I hear you ask? I'll tell you one thing it's not. It's not a shed, because we haven't started, because they haven't delivered, because they couldn't get down, because the roads are like that. So that means that, unfortunately, it's delayed by a day. Oh well, hopefully we'll get it tomorrow. These things happen when you live out here. This is our friend and neighbour Richard, who's very kindly come to help us, which we really appreciate. And we made him a cup of tea already, so we're off to a good start.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man. Let's make a shed.
We'll do this.
Let's do it. So Richard and I made a start cutting the wood to size. Even I cut a few pieces too. We started by building the wooden shed base, then we moved it out the way so I could dig post holes in pre-marked spots to accommodate the vertical foundation timbers and the concrete in the next stage.
Gonna be one heck of a man cave.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Somewhere for you to go and tinker with things.
Oh!
You going solo?
Richard's away.
It's freezing.
Is it? I'm boiling. I had to take my
Well, I
top
guess
off
it'd
it.
be warmer if you're digging all of these holes.
Yeah, especially when I'm digging through mainly rock. I've already gone at this with a pick, but this big pry bar's even better, I think. I can just spade that out now, I think. Hey! Really happy with how it went today. Here's where we are. Tomorrow is another day. Got a lot more to do, so well, keep watching, I suppose, if you want to. These are two planks of driftwood I found whilst I was out fishing. I decided to make the bottom plank into a sign for the shed. Here I am down on the floor with my drill, making a start on the sign. This is the sign for the shed, and this is how far I got just with the drill. I don't have a router or router, however you want to call it. So I just used a drill after sketching out the writing, and now I'm going to use a Dremel. Decided to up my game a bit, put one of these little mini angle grinder discs on. Right, so using the little mully tool is going to take forever. So I think what I'm going to do, if I'm going to use an angle grinder, I may as well just use an angle grinder. Okay, here's where we are now. Getting a lot colder. I don't know if you can see the steam on my breath. So yeah, still got ways to go, but getting there. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that so far. It's time to go in for dinner, and my rechargeable work light just ran out of batteries, so I think I'll probably call it for tonight. The next job was to put the shed frame back in the right place, measure and cut the vertical foundation posts and put them in position, ready to be concreted in place. With the frame and posts in place, it was time to mix and pour the concrete into the post holes to secure the shed foundation. And this is what we've done today. Raised it up, got it level, put in the concrete for the posts, which is now wet, And Richard has already signed. And that's cool, look at that.
Push, 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 push.
I'll go here. Excellent! Richard just very kindly gave us those windows, which is amazing. Give us them for nothing. How kind is that? Brilliant. I'm going to clean them up in the next few days. They need a clean up, don't they? But I bet they look really good when they're done. That is an absolute result. I'm using a small trowel to remove the old putty, silicone and aftermarket paint from the frames. Then I was using a rag and a stiff bristled brush. I tried every product I could find, but the paint just wouldn't come off. Also, I got as much oil as I could into the moving parts of the frame, which freed them up well. What do you think, Jack? They look good, eh? So what we've got here is some very clean windows compared to how they were, and I've oiled them and got them functioning well. Problem is, there's some paint on the outside, so I'm going to have to get some paint stripper. I was trying to scrape it off. But aside from that, they're absolutely banging now. Love it. Nice windows for free.
We decided to paint the windows with black metal paint, to cover up the old paint and to make them fit in more with the shed when it's finished.
Pretty good. Covered all over. Can't see any white bits anymore. Looks great. Job done. Okay, it's day 3 and here we go again. Today we're going to be putting the walls on, or some of them anyway.
Yep.
Looking forward to it?
Yeah.
Let's do this. So now it's time to start building the structure that would become the walls of the shed.
Looks a bit drafty, mind, guys.
See what that says there?
Kayak.
Kayak. So we've actually measured it so that the kayak will fit underneath. Instead of just going straight down here, they're going to come out like that, and then there's going to be an open area here that the kayak can slide underneath. We actually did it on purpose. We measured that beam so that the kayak will fit underneath it. Going a little tour. These beams across there like that, they're not structural, they're not part of it. That's just to hold it in place in case it gets really windy, because it likes to do that on Skye a lot. So I'll just take you on a little tour inside. Very cool. We're about to place an order for the remainder of the materials to come, and then we'll finish it off next week, and that'll be that. Just woken up and we were due to be building today. Materials aren't here anyway, but we've got a bigger problem than that. That's definitely the worst I've seen it here. The sea's all white horses, the trees are all blowing around. I really hope the shed's still there. I don't know how it's coming across on screen, but now here, it's wild. I am really not looking forward to going out in this. Wild! Because we're completely insane, we're actually going to go out and work in that horrible wind. At least it stopped raining though. Mad.
We'll get there.
We will get there. Time to tackle the roofing joists. Richard cut them to length and then he cut the end joints to fit onto the cross beams. Meanwhile, I was boring countersunk guide holes in each one at both ends to accommodate the screws. Then, it was just a case of both of us screwing and nailing them in position to form the structure of the roof. Right then, that's us done for the day. It's looking really good. That was day 4 then. Okay, it's day 5 and it's pouring with rain, and we hope that it passes over because we don't want to work in the rain. Let's get on with it.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
Richard and I started by putting up a waterproof membrane on the lower part of the wall, followed by the first of the wooden cladding boards. Then it was time to screw in place the first of the 2 windows. We have a window.
Hey!
Then it was time to cut and nail on some more of the cladding, which, along with the screws, helped to secure the window in place. Alright, that's day 5 over. We've got 1 wall almost up, and we're going to be doing this again tomorrow, so you'll see us again on day 6, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's day 6, and this man is back to help. Yes, what a legend. So let's get out there and let's start building the shed again.
Do a bit more shed work.
Let's do it. Picking up where we left off here, we're nailing more waterproof membrane onto the shed frame, then hand cutting and attaching cladding boards over the top of that. This corner will be finished off with boards that run down that way, and they'll butt up against each other there. These ends will be trimmed off. Looking good. Onwards and upwards. Here we are, the boat shed. Does it look scruffy and rough? Yes. Is that the plan? Also yes. I'll put it over there on the floor so you can see a little bit better. Now it's just a case of painting it. I'm going to use black paint, I think. I was going to use brown, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I think I'll use black. It'll look better, I think. And then I'll varnish it, and then it'll be done. Force some holes in it and stick it on the shed. There we have it. Just needs some varnish now and it's done. What do you think, Sarah?
Very nice. Yeah, that's good.
Bit of driftwood, bit of paint that we found in the byre.
You couldn't fit the kayak shed on it.
Where are you, Eddie? Here we go again. It's day 6 and we're back on the site. By the way, it's not full days we're doing, it's half days most of the time. So it's not taking a really long time. We're not always able to take a full day at it. But here we are. Let's get building again. Picking up from the previous day, Richard and I carried on cutting and nailing cladding boards onto the shed frame, over the waterproof membrane that we nailed in place previously. I'm in the byre, just waiting for this storm to pass over, hopefully. I've got a feeling it's not gonna. I think this is it all day, so waterproofs it is. Can't be the old army waterproofs, nothing gets through them. Back to the cladding. And Richard's slightly terrifying and very bendy DIY scaffolding. As we carried on cutting and nailing on the cladding boards, the weather just went from bad to worse, but we soldiered on nonetheless, and got a right good soak in for our efforts. Here we are, it's day 8. And we're back building the shed again. Today it's not raining yet, but it is very windy. Hopefully it'll clear up a bit. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, crack on.
First we had to build the scaffold, which was slightly less scary this time as we had 3 supports instead of 2. Then we put up more membrane, followed by more cladding. The wind noise in this section was terrible, but I was measuring and cutting the cladding boards, which you couldn't see in the time lapse. Then Sarah brought us a treat. Oh, thank you.
I bought you some cake.
That's very kind. I'll get that in just a minute. We're on the last board.
So you've been cutting the wall
After our tea and cake, we got stuck into constructing the first part of the steps into the shed. Richard was building the deck as I was digging the holes, then mixing and pouring concrete for the post supports. That was another interesting day out there. Very wild and windy, rainy, threw everything at us again, but another successful day, yeah?
Good enough day.
Not bad, and it'll be worth it in the end.
Catch you later.
It's day number 9, and we're going to be doing some, what are we doing today?
Sarking on that front.
Sarking on the front, windowing.
Windowing, sarking. Ready for the roof tomorrow.
Very exciting. Stick with us. First we put up membrane, cut a hole in it for the window, fitted the window with screws and further secured it in place with more cladding, and because it was quite a tricky job, that took up the whole day. Where we are today, looking good.
It's going well.
It's doing good, eh?
Yeah. Jobs are good. We're getting there. Trim these sides and get the roof on, and that'll be it. Watertight. Oosh.
This is the first time I've stood inside it with all the walls on. We've got a shed. It's a bit leaky though. That's us for another day, and all we've got to do now is get the membrane and the roof on and then the floor, and that's the job done. So this has been great fun so far. Hope you've been enjoying it too.
Yep.
Until tomorrow. Richard's asked me to paint these bottom boards to protect them from the weather because we're putting in the stairs there and the wood's going to go right against here. So we're going to protect that by painting it with a little bit of the wood stain, and it also will give you an idea what it's going to look like when it's done. So I'm going to get this painted here and here. We'll do that next. That's all he's asked me to do for the time being, and I'm happy with that, and it sort of gives you an indication of what it's going to look like when it's all been done. So yeah, happy days. It's day 10, and look at this. We're outside because it's sunny, it's beautiful, there's no wind. This is amazing. It's a gorgeous day. 4 seasons and all that, as you said.
Yeah.
All right, let's get working.
Typical Skye weather.
It didn't take long, did it?
Yeah.
There are ways of doing things, and then there are Richard's ways of doing things. Now that Richard had cut off the unwanted material from the shed with a chainsaw, he then set about nailing down a breather membrane onto the roof. Richard's up there putting the roofing membrane on.
Doing all the work.
Doing all the work while I'm in here just filming and messing around. So what are you doing here?
Just getting the felt on to stop the condensation from dripping on Willie's head when he's in the shed in his man cave. This is a cheaper option than buying corrugated iron with anti-condensation on the underside of it. Adds a lot more money to the price of the tin, like, you know. So this is a cheaper option and works just as good. Bit more work in it, right enough, like, but just gets it done, you know.
Now that the breather membrane was secured in place, it was time to put on the corrugated and plastic coated steel sheets, or tin as Richard calls them. Hello. So what we're doing is drilling holes for the screws. I'm drilling the holes and Richard's putting the screws in. And it's a lovely day for it. I'm glad it's not raining.
Yeah, for once. You got it?
Right, so we nail the sheet down like that just to stop the bounce in it. And then that goes on like that. And then we put stitchers from the front edge. Sit in line with them, you know.
Cool.
And that covers that, you know.
Richard's just putting in some foam fillers. It stops the water getting in the way. And then these little stitching screws screw down, hold them in place, and hold this flashing in place as well. Here's Richard putting the last few screws in the roof. It's nearly done, folks. Well, Richard's gone for the day and he's done an amazing job today, and it was great to help him again. And it's a Friday today, so traditional Friday, 5 o'clock. Chin chin.
Cheers!
And now we're going to start painting the shed.
Well, it's been sunny all day, and as soon as we start painting, it starts raining. Cheers, Skye. Typical. It looks like it's going to pass over.
Yeah,
But you never know.
You can't see this, but there's blue sky over there, so hopefully this will just be a little shower. And if not, well, we're wasting our time because this is water-soluble paint.
Yeah.
Look how much paint I've got, well, wood stain I've got in my hands compared to Sarah.
I thought I was a messy painter. You mucky pup.
I think that's looking great. And then here on the edges, because we're putting wood panels on each side here, there was just no point in painting that. Next we'll get the edges on and then we'll paint over that as well, and it'll look really cool. It's Monday, Richard's back, and we're going to tackle building the steps and also, well, I'll let you tell them. Floor today. Floor first. Floor first, then we'll build the stairs.
But
So,
meantime, somebody has to put concrete in what they were supposed to do at the weekend.
Was that? I thought it was meant to paint the shed.
You were supposed to do concrete first.
Ah, that's me getting told off, folks. Come on then, let's get on with it. It was time to start laying the plywood floor panels, but first we had to put in some more cross pieces where they were needed for extra support and strength. Once in place, we screwed the panels down with 50mm wood screws. Then, Richard began constructing the door frame whilst I dug holes before hand mixing the concrete for the stair foundation and pouring it into the holes that I'd just dug. Now that the door frame was complete, it was time for Richard to build the door. Meanwhile, I was filling the gaps in the new wooden window frames with foam filler and silicone to prevent water ingress.
The shed looks so much better now that we've given it a coat of wood stain. Yeah, it doesn't stand out with the bright wood anymore. Oh look, There's the guys working.
It's the end of day 11 and we're feeling really good because we managed to get the floor down today and loads of other stuff done as well. It's a full shed pretty much now. We've just got little bits and pieces to do to finish it off. How are you feeling about it?
It's getting there.
Get in there. By the way, Richard's having to hold the door like that so it doesn't blow off its hinges because it's crazy windy out there today. It has been all day. Not easy working in these conditions, but definitely worth it. And look who's been very good boy out there and waiting for us to come out and probably wondering why we're not coming out. Let's see if he'll come up. Jack,
Okay.
come on.
Come on, here.
Hey, there he is. Hey, pal. Adventures. No, that's not treats, it's screws. Hiya, hiya. Looking for things to play with, eh? And off he goes. Does that look good?
Uh-huh.
Excellent. That's where it will go. This has had 24 hours now to dry, so I'm going to varnish it here, which is a nice place to varnish things, I guess. Okay, so I did another coat of varnish last night and I've pre-bored holes and put screws in the holes, so the sign is now ready to go up. And Sarah's going to project manage from over there as I screw it up, so let's see how it goes. It's day 12 and we've got to put the steps in today, and this will probably be the last day apart from putting in the trim round the outside, but that's not structural, that's just to make it look better at the end. Day 12, let's do this. You ready?
Get it done. Let it dry out a bit and it'll you'll be able to paint at the bits that you know get to when it's in situation, like, you know, and we'll get it in place and then you can get the final coat on it.
Nice work, thank you.
Hey boy.
So here it is, the shed is complete. Okay, so we've got a couple of little bits to do to finish it, little finishing parts. Aside from that, it's built. Richard was an absolute star doing this for us. We really appreciate his help. Without him, we couldn't have done it at all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Richard! We decided to build it from scratch because Skye, the weather can be particularly wild. If you just get one of those sheds that you buy in like a hardware store online, chances are it would end up in Oslo in a couple of days because it's just so wild here. So we had to build something substantial, and that is why we got Richard involved.
Factory built sheds are just like really thin and won't hold up to the Skye weather that we get in the glen, like, you know. Sometimes it works out cheaper, sometimes it's more expensive, but if it's more expensive, it's better built, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's better quality, you know.
Get what you pay for.
Exactly. On Skye, you're not guaranteed a full week with dry weather, and if the rain gets on the floor, then it's, you know, it can damage the floor. So you build the walls, put the roof on, get it watertight, then you put the floor in. Saves extra cost on having to replace the floor afterwards, like, you know.
Yeah, we don't want to do things twice. The roof as well could blow away. If there's a roof up there and it's exposed, it could just rip off in a really... And we did have really high winds during the build as well, so we were lucky. We built it on stilts because the driveway is on a slope. And also, during this build, our buyer building next door flooded. The barn at the top of the drive burst its banks and took a huge gouge out of the driveway. It was like a proper river, and we had a lock in front of our buyer. So that's why. If we built it straight onto the ground, it might have washed away.
And as well, with the ground being so uneven, it's easier to build it on stilts than having to get a digger in to level the ground, because it's, you know, as you found out, Willie, from digging the post holes, that the ground's pretty hard underneath, so you would either have to dig out or you would have to haul rock in to create a level platform, which would add more cost to the build.
That's true also. A lot of reasons, but it was definitely worth doing.
You've got storage underneath for your canoes and whatever else, and
yep, put a couple of kayaks under there.
Like, you know, so.
More rubbish goes underneath, but mainly kayaks. We did consider making a studio space for Sarah and myself. This shed might have been the studios, But we decided that we wanted the older building and the feeling of being in an older building. It just seemed much more homely to have it in an old building
More
with
character.
history. Yeah, much more character. And we think that'll come across in the music and Sarah's art as well. I think the only thing I might have done is put another window at the back, just so we could see out to the drive, but to be honest, it's all covered in stuff anyway, so you can't really see out anyway. To be honest, I'm really happy with it. I think it's amazing. It's absolutely solid. Hopefully the Skye weather won't be able to demolish it. Is there anything that you would like to do differently, or are you happy as well?
Possibly I put sterling board on the walls before we put the breather membrane on, right enough, like got a bit more rigidity, but you know, it's costly, you know.
Yeah,
It's alright, you know, it's good the way it is, but it would give you more insulation value on the thing, you know, but it's not needed. It's just a shed, you know.
Don't really need to have insulation in there because I'm not going to be working in there or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. We chose the dark wood stain because it's the wood stain that we found in the byre. The previous owner had been using that particular colour all around the property, on the window frames, on the outside seats, everywhere. So I thought we'd stay in keeping with the wood stain that's already been used all over the property, so it ties in well. Also, it's a natural colour. It goes really well with all the surroundings. If I painted it a bright pink, it would look a bit daft.
Yeah, Willie didn't listen to any of my suggestions.
No.
Richard, how was it working with Willie?
It was alright. It was a laugh.
It was a laugh.
If you get the crack on a building site, it helps the job go on a lot better than it would, you know, if you weren't serious and, you know, far better fun, like, you know.
So Willie, how was it working with Richard?
It was great fun, as Richard said, thank you. But also, it was really good to see Richard working because I've never done anything like this. I've never built a shed from scratch before. So I learned amazing amounts of stuff from Richard, and it was just fantastic to see him working. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
It's good to learn, you know.
No,
And,
very good
you
to
know,
learn.
I hope that people learn from what I do, you know. It's just my way of working, like, you know.
Well, I definitely learned. The best thing about it is Richard's actually from here. He knows what the weather conditions are like. He knows the way to build here. Someone in the south of England might not build the way he does, but we live here too. So it's very important that I learn from someone that is a local, like Richard.
Most importantly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was Jack Spaniels?
On a scale of 1 to 10, Jack Spaniels was honestly, we'll say honestly 1, because all he did is drop stuff at our feet. But because we love him so much, we'll give him an honorary Spaniel 10 points.
Some of you might be wondering what I was doing in the whole process and why I wasn't helping out with most of the build. For one thing, I'm absolutely terrible at DIY, so for health and safety reasons it was probably best that I wasn't involved. I did manage to give myself a black eye once trying to put up a mirror, so helping with power tools probably not the best idea. Mostly, I was making copious cups of tea for the two boys doing their work. It's still going. I was taking care of Jack, taking him out for walks, making sure he wasn't getting under their feet too much, and I was doing the bulk of the editing for all those videos that you've been watching. So I was very busy, just not with the shed build itself. But I did help out with the painting, so I do feel like I've had a hand in it.
If you have any questions that we didn't answer in the Q&A, please ask them in the comments below. And now, drum roll, it's time for the grand reveal.
Thank you so much for watching our video. We really hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit different to our normal episodes. If you did enjoy it, please do leave us a comment, give us a like, and subscribe to our channel if you don't already. It's free and it really helps us out.
Also, if you want to, you can buy us a coffee over on Ko-fi, or a dog treat for Jack Spaniels.
If you feel like helping us out more long term, you can become one of our amazing patrons over on Patreon, and there you get lots of bonus content for helping us out every month.
We'll be back next week with a normal episode, but you may know as well that we're converting our 200-year-old buyer building. And we'll give you snippets of that build too. However, we will also do a full-length video for that as well.
Thanks again for watching, and we will see you
Next week.
We're never stopping that now, are we?
No. We're leaving our suburban life, moving over the sea to Skye. Are we chasing a dream? I guess in time we will see, when we're living the Skye life. Living the Skye life. The reason that we're actually also the
Sorry, I moved my foot. It wasn't a fart. It wasn't a fart.
It was a fart.
It wasn't a fart.
It was a fart.
I would say.
She farted. Man, it's like there's two stooges.
What you swearing?
Yeah, mind your language, mister.
Are you filming again?
Yes.
I thought we were just on the time lapse. I didn't know you were filming, otherwise I wouldn't be using naughty language. We don't use naughty language in our videos.
No, you just delete them out.
It's usually you that does it though.
Yeah, but you've been worse than I have.
Today I have.
No, the whole job.
Oh yeah, right. We'll be back week.
Back week.
What does back week mean? Is that this week
The
is
back of the
back week. Next week is bum week.
That's not even making it into the bloopers.
Bum week. Right. You got a weak bum? Every so often during this, a little block comes out from underneath. And this is why. Playtime! All the time. If you get varnish in your hair, it's your own fault.
What was that?
Just said, plus the shed might blow away.
Right. Anything you would do differently?
Not use Willie as a
I'm just gonna, yeah, not use me as a labourer. So we thought we'll have it. We'll stay. Zip.
Yeah, I'm getting cold. Sorry.
It's alright.
In the shot, is that good?
Yes. Well, Richard's also in the shot smoking a fag.
In the shop smoking a fag.
In the reflection.
There's room for improvement.
I'm not doing it again.
What do you mean?
What, building a shed?
You don't know what I've got lined up for you. That's payment for doing the shed.
Yeah, there you go. That's true, actually. It's all a barter system here, so now I owe him favours.
I like that you've done the sign before you've checked if the kayaks fit.
Optimism, my dear. If you click on the left icon, you can subscribe to Living the Skye Life. If you click on the right icon, it'll take you back to our very first episode.